This is another episode of me documenting the day-to-day process that I am taking to achieve long-term consistency in the financial markets. And today is finally a breath of fresh air after 6 trading days where I could not find a single solid setup. Well, I did find solid setups, but I could not lock in any equity because of one mistake that I've been repeating. And if you watch my weekly review, you know that I implemented a plan to combat those mistakes, and I deliberately ignored that plan yesterday, which let another solid setup turn into a break-even trade. And in the past 2 weeks, I've taken multiple setups that were up over 60 handles and let those trades come back on me to stop out for a losing trade, which makes absolutely no sense. If we look at the 12th, that was literally the reason for my biggest loss this month. If we go into this trade, we can see that I was literally up over 80 handles. It was on CPI. There was a lot of volatility. I was up over 80 handles on the trade, and it came back and turned into my biggest losing trade of the entire month. How does that happen? How do I even let that happen? It doesn't make any sense, right? The same thing is the case for Friday the 8th. On the second trade that I took that day, I was also up well over 60 handles, and they came back on me to stop me out for a losing trade. If we look at yesterday's trade, the same story. I was up over 60 handles, came back out, and stopped me for a break-even trade. So why does this keep happening? Well, the issue is I keep fantasizing over catching these huge swings in price and these big R trades, and I keep demanding that the market gives me exactly what I'm looking for. I keep demanding that the market deliver exactly what I want it to deliver in the exact fashion that I'm looking for it to deliver in. I'm so worried about being right that I'm not making money. I'm more worried about being right than making money, and that's what's making me give back all these gains that I've been making. I'm good at identifying solid opportunities in the marketplace and executing on these ideas. The issue is I am spoiling these trades with bad trade management because I'm so worried about catching these huge swings, huge R multiples, and having the market do exactly what I want it to do. Now today I combated all of that and I did the exact opposite. Although the potential for a mega trade was there, and I knew it was, I got out at the draw on liquidity at the level that I was looking for, and that's it, and I was done because of all the mistakes that I made over the previous weeks. I could have held this trade for over 10R, but I know that if I did that, I would just be fueling the same behavior that has led to the mistakes in the past weeks. And that would just more than likely lead to more bad behavior in the future because I'm still solidifying that bad habit of knowing, hey, I should probably get out at this level, but not getting out there and wanting more and always wanting the more and always demanding that the market do what I want it to do. So with all that being said, let's get into this episode. View my day. Today is August 20th, 2025. So we have a net P&L of $1,300, and here is the optimal market approach. So what is the draw on liquidity? I'm establishing that as overnight low resistance sell side, and what is my bias? So for me, there's 3 things that make up a bias. First thing is higher time frame narrative. Second is market criteria. You blend those two together. That gives you an idea of how you want that daily candle to paint. And then you have to ask yourself, how is it going to get to the draw on liquidity? If I think the draw on liquidity is overnight low resistance sell side, how do I think it's going to get there based on the higher time frame narrative and market criteria? The higher time frame narrative, I believe yesterday's down candle confirms the high of the week is in. I like how it laid an obvious gap over previous weekly low across multiple time frames, indicating continuation beyond that towards a longer term draw, potentially 22,800 sell side. And the market's criteria, I like how price has dropped below previous daily low in the overnight session and is creating low resistance sell side as it rebalances that drop, which I see as potentially setting up another sell day. So how is it going to get there? How is it going to get to the overnight low resistance sell side? Well, I would like it to see it push up first. That would be the best case scenario to clear pre-market buy side and Asia buy side, pressing deeper into previous day range, laying a body over the new day opening gap. This was the idea that I thought would happen, but looking at market structure, it actually did not make any sense for this to happen, and it made a lot more sense to see the market break lower at the open because the work was already done pre-market, and I'll explain how it was. So I say, but with what it's done so far, I could potentially see it going lower at 9:30 again, just as it did yesterday, if large down candles confirm prices cleared the pre-market low. So what setup am I looking for and why? I'm looking for my bearish discount gap opening setup. I'm still bearish. I'm still only looking to be a seller today and seeing the market reject the discount gap opening setup. So my model is basically reading the higher time frame narrative, reading market criteria, looking at if we have a gap opening. If the higher time frame narrative is bearish and market criteria supports the idea of lower prices, then I'm expecting that daily candle to paint lower. So if we have a gap lower opening, then I'm expecting that gap to stay open, and I'm expecting the market to trade in the same direction as that lower gap opening. Pretty simple. So you can see in my annotations, I'm not going to read out all of these, it takes too long. I'll just give a quick brief overview, but I'm thinking this is probably the longer term draw on liquidity. And I'm basing my higher time frame narrative based off the development of the weekly range, the settlement of daily and weekly candles, and the near term condition. So while Tuesday's candle close, if we go to the daily time frame, it's a large down candle, right? That's bearish. That likely confirms that the high of week is in on Monday. And if we look at how last week's candle settled, we can see it drove above that high but closed below it. That's a sign of weakness. And now we're seeing a retracement on the following candle, probably forming a swing point in the market and potentially reaching for these lows at some later point in time. So if we go to the 4 hour, we can see that the market has laid an obvious gap over previous weekly low. That's a good indication of continuation in my eyes. So I'm thinking it may want to push back inside the previous day low to lay a body over this separation right here. That's new day opening gap. But later read information on the lower time frame. Did not make any sense to see the market want to trade up at 9:30. It definitely made sense to see it stay heavy. So I'm noting the 1 hour sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency as a point of interest to anticipate the reversal. And I'm noting the creation of low resistance sell side in the overnight session. You notice how the market has not had one solid drop below previous lows, has not had one clear run on sell side liquidity. So it's setting up low resistance sell side overnight. When the market is bearish, when it's predisposed to go lower, we have this obvious open gap that is laid over the previous daily low. Everything is pointing to lower prices today. It was a pretty easy read. So you can see that these two up candles, 1, 2, drives above this candle's high. There's a stop hunt there. This candle also drove above these candles' highs. That's another stop hunt. So I'm thinking it could potentially break lower right at 9:30 just because of the information that is given right here. We can see the creation of low resistance sell side overnight. All these lows are smooth, and it's trading above the midnight open. So I'm thinking the draw on liquidity, annotated in the light blue right here, is the overnight low. So if all this being said, this is the narrative that I'm establishing. I'm looking at the market criteria, and I'm thinking this day is definitely predisposed to go lower, and that's it. So I'm going into the day only looking to be a seller. If you watch my videos, you know that every bad session that I have starts with me framing two different ideas. If I come to the market looking to be a buyer and a seller, what happens? I can't confidently submit to one idea. I'm switching my bias intraday. The market could clearly tell me it's going lower, but because I have two ideas, I flip my bias intraday, and now I'm looking to be a buyer. It just leads to so many mistakes. It's cost me so much. So I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm only ever coming to the market looking for one idea. That's it. That's it. Just because of all the mistakes that I've made in the past. So let's go to the chart, pop on the executions, and see what trade that I took today. So I'm sure a lot of y'all took this. This was pretty easy. I'm not going to lie. It was right there, like just handed to you. Right there. Boom. Like take me, sell me, short. I'll start on the 15-minute and break down some of the logic behind it. This was me showing my girlfriend the difference between a limit order and a market order. It wasn't me actually trading. It's in the Asia session as well. So this gap is in congruence on the hourly time frame and the 4 hour. Let's go to the 4 hour. I framed the logic behind everything, right? So no need to go over that. You can see from my annotations from the pre-market session. We have this gap on the 4 hour. We go to the hourly. We have a gap in that same range. Go to the 15-minute. And finally, we have another gap in that same range. So that gap is congruent on that 4 hour, 1 hour, and 15-minute. 3 time frames. That means it's a strong probability area for reversal. Now I'm just looking for the market to give me indications that is weak in that point of interest, and it should go lower, which is given right here. When this goes 1, 2 up candle above this high, closes at consequent encroachment, and then boom, boom, 2 down candles lower, overlap the up candles, that's bearish. This candle drives above these candles highs. I already explained this in the pre-market plan. So I'm anticipating the market to go lower at the open. Another good confluence that I had was just simply thinking about market structure and the formation of long-term highs, long-term lows, intermediate-term highs, and intermediate-term lows. So from the 2022 mentorship, I went back and studied this today because this really helped me figure out why, or understand why the market went lower right at 9:30. It's because of the market structure that we formed. This is classified as an intermediate term high because it rebalances an inefficiency. That automatically classifies it as an intermediate term high. An intermediate term high should have a short term high to the left and to the right of it, which we have here and here. But this swing high also has a lower swing high to the left and right of it, which makes this an intermediate term high. If this is an intermediate term high, that makes this a long-term high. Basically, long-term short. Long-term short. Long story short, this high should not be taken. And you don't even have to know any of the market structure, the technical market structure that's I don't know, advanced, I guess you could say, and complex for those of you guys that don't like ICT. You can just know that this dries above that candle's high, stop hunt, and it shouldn't go back up there because the work is already done. But if you want to understand the technicals behind it and understand the market structure, that's it and that's that. So the market breaks lower right at the open, and I find it fascinating. My internet is slowing down here. And I find it fascinating how markets are fractal and the exact same thing is shown on the lower time frame. So you have that market structure, or it's basically a head and shoulders pattern. There you go. Boom, I said it. You have that market structure on the 15-minute time frame. It's the same thing on the 5-minute. If we drop to the 5-minute, you see the same market structure within the 5-minute right here. So you have high, higher high, lower high, right? Drop to the 5-minute and you see the same thing. High, lower high, lower high. So boom, I'm expecting this high to fail. It doesn't have to go above that high because the damage is already done here. Boom, clearly stops there. So like I said in my pre-market plan, only looking to be a seller today. Definitely see the potential for going lower at 9:30 again if large down candle confirm has cleared pre-market low. Does that happen? Well, it looks like we have a large down candle that closed over the pre-market low. Okay, so now I just need a 1-minute P to your right to get on side with. Okay, it leaves this obvious gap. Cool, I'm going to take that. I'm going to sell that. I'm going to anticipate it to stay open. I'm going to anticipate the gap to stay open and the market stay heavy and drop for overnight low. And it does so. So let's pull up the recording. And what happened? My stop loss is going to go at the high of the imbalance because I'm anticipating it to stay open. It's a large gap. And the market is instantly giving me feedback that this trade is working, this idea is working. I'm not thinking it's going to close that gap. I'm thinking it's going to stay open and stay heavy. So my stop goes there, my sell limit order goes there. Eventually I get tagged in and it drops right for whatever. Cool. Another confluence, another thing that you could have added, or it's just something else that I'm just playing with because I know that high probability sells are going to be above the midnight opening price. You want to be a seller above the midnight opening price and you want to be a buyer below the opening price. If I'm bearish, I want to be a seller above the midnight open price. So extend that out in time, you can see the market is clearly trading above that. It's ideal to be a seller. It's optimal to be a seller. So I'm just adding some more confluences. I'm not trying to complicate things because I already have a model that worked and I don't want to add so many different elements and new factors that are going to complement things, but the addition of just simply annotating the midnight opening price is not something that's complex. It's just a line, and if it goes above it and I'm bearish, that means it's good for me to sell, and if it goes below it and I'm bullish, that means it's also good for me to buy. So that's something that's simple. And another thing that I added today is market structure, just looking at this being a long-term high and this being an intermediate term high. So this is likely to fail and go lower, break lower as it did here. Now, if we go to my trade review, or if we go to the live trading check-ins at 9:40, you can see that this is another trade I'm extremely confident in delivering. So if I stop out, there is no possible way that I could be upset. I framed a bias, I let price confirm it, and I trade in that direction. That's it. That's it. So after the market closes, or after I'm done trading, I do my thought process analysis. I'm coming to the conclusion that if I come to the market with conviction in one idea, I trade in alignment with my plan, then there's no possible way I can take a losing trade because it's what I was looking for. If I execute on my pre-market plan, I follow through with it, and that trade ends up still being a loser, that's fine. I followed through with my plan. I did everything that I was trying to do for that session. How could that be a losing trade? How could I possibly be upset about that? I can't. Okay? So 10 out of 10 session. Really. Beautiful. This is a 5-star trade. Like, I did everything right. Okay? The good, I came to the day telling myself, I am only looking for sells. That's it. That's it. Now, the market's been easy over the past 2 days, today and yesterday. So I don't know if I'm getting better or if the market's just really easy right now. But I had a conviction in a bearish bias yesterday. I had a conviction in a bearish bias today, and I executed on those ideas yesterday and today. So essentially, I've had 2 good sessions on back-to-back trading days. Although yesterday was a red day, I think it was still a good session in my book because I executed on my plan, right? Just one simple mistake that cost me that trade and that just spoiled it. So I confidently sold short in the direction of my pre-market approach. I didn't obsess over securing 100, 1 million, a million R, knowing what's costing me in the past. So this is crucial right here because this is what's been holding me back. I didn't obsess over securing a huge R multiple trade, knowing what that is what's costing me in the I didn't obsess over securing a high R trade, knowing that's what cost me in the past. I shifted the focus from wanting to be right and wanting to support myself. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, I don't know if I did, I don't remember if I did, but all I really want to do is be able to support myself from trading. That's it, because right now I am broke. The definition of broke is dependent on someone else for life's necessities. I am dependent on my parents for life's necessities. They put a roof over my head. That's it. So all I want to do is produce consistent income from this. How do I do that? Compile small wins consistently. That's it. Shift the focus. Stop going for big swings. Stop demanding that the market gives you exactly what you're looking for. Stop. You don't need that shit. You don't need that shit to make money. I can grow into that, but right now, forming a foundation and getting comfortable with my model, I should just be going for low-hanging fruit objectives. And some of you guys have said this in the comments, and you are correct. You are absolutely correct. And I 100% agree with you. So everything was good about this trade. 10 out of 10 execution, start to finish. Now, I'd also like to touch on another thing that is key, that has been key to good trading performance over the past 2 sessions, and I can feel a night and day difference instantly. Instantly. And it is how I feel going into the day. So let me read this real quick. How did I feel going today? I felt great, high energy and high focus because my routine is now prioritizing my trading performance. I am sleeping well and priming my mind to make quality decisions in the morning instead of trying to do more, burning myself out before the session starts. I can really feel the difference. It's night and day. It only makes sense to prioritize my trading performance in my routine if this is what I want to do for a living. So I don't have to journal much. I don't have much to journal about emotionally, which is how I know I'm in flow or performing well. When I'm performing poorly, that's how I know I'm going on tilt and not performing well. This is true. So, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I've been waking up at 4 a.m. and doing push-ups every single day. The reason I'm waking up at 4 a.m. is literally so I can work for 2.5 hours of back testing or working on my model before the market even opens. If I'm putting in 2.5 hours of high focus work before the market even opens, how do you think I'm feeling by the time I get to the 9:30 open? I'm burnt out. I've already used a lot of mental energy. I've already used a lot of focus. I'm burnt before the market even opens. So how do you think that's going to affect my decision making intraday? And on top of that, I wasn't prioritizing sleep. I was actually cutting back on sleep, only getting 6 hours of sleep so I could do more work. So how do you think my decision making is going to be? How do you think I'm going to feel emotionally? How do you think I'm going to handle stress if I'm only running on 6 hours of sleep every single night, waking up at 4 a.m. and the first thing that I do is, number 1, do a super intense workout, or number 2, do 2.5 hours of work? How do you think that's going to make me operate by the time I get to 9:30? Burning myself out by training or by working and not getting any sleep. Well, let's look at my performance and see what's up. This is how I performed over the last 2 weeks, and I was doing just that. I made the change today, and this is how I performed on back-to-back days. This should have been a green day. I fucked it up. Night and day, baby. Night and day. So if you want to trade for a living, you have to prioritize your trading performance, which means you have to implement habits that are going to allow you to make quality decisions, which means you need to sleep well and you need to get your mind right before the market opens. That's it. So I'm allowing myself to wake up naturally now. I'm getting probably 7 hours of sleep, and I'm not doing any work at all. I'm not working out, and I'm not doing any work at all before the market opens. In fact, I'm going on a walk. I'm going to get sunlight in my eyes. I'm going to get sunlight on my skin before the market opens. I'm journaling. I'm reading a book. I'm not doing anything highly intense, and I'm also managing my stress, making sure to take good, efficient breaks throughout my workday so that I'm not loading up on stress and carrying that into the next trading day. This is key. This is very, 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 very key. So I watched this video from Jade Cap, and this basically kind of opened up my eyes to the change that I made before I knew what happened. So he trades pretty similar to me, so I was just kind of scrolling through his YouTube channel, and I came across this video, and it really piqued my interest, so I watched it. And basically, he just says, like, you have to prioritize right habits, build the right habits so that you are on your A game every single day consistently when you're trading, which is true. If you want to do this for a living, then your routine has to be optimized so that you perform your best when you are trading. And I wasn't doing that. Watching this video made me realize the change that I made. When I came back home, I started prioritizing sleep, I started managing stress, and I started getting my mind right before the market opened instead of trying to do more. So essentially, I'm doing more by doing less, which is the paradox with trading. Because I'm doing less because I'm not working as much and I'm sleeping more, but I'm doing more at the same time because that's improving my trading performance. Those habits of doing less, those habits that make me do less, make me do more in my trading performance. And that's the paradox of trading. So I didn't realize that until I watched this video. And I realized, like, oh shit, look how I traded over the past 2 weeks when I was just going balls to the wall, trying to do the absolute most to get to where I want to be. Look how I traded. I traded like shit. Make the change instantly, night and day difference. And I can feel it too, because I was so emotionally tense and I was so stressed out and wore out when I came to the market. Literally every single trading day here, I was tired as shit. I had no focus. I had no energy. And every little thing that the market did pissed me off. Every little thing that the market did that I didn't want it to do pissed me off. So I was not right emotionally. I had no focus. I had no energy. And I made low quality decisions. Flip that, prioritize the routine to optimize trading performance, and what happens? Good sessions, 10 out of 10 sessions, 10 out of 10. Another thing that I realized, this is probably going to be my last point. Indecision. I guess indecision is in my nature. Because if you watch my previous videos, you know I was dealing with a difficult situation where I either had to get my own place or come back to a toxic environment at home. And I couldn't decide between the two, which put me in a state of indecision. Something I literally couldn't do anything for probably 4 or 5 days until finally I just decided I got to get the fuck out of here, moved out of my grandparents' house, and moved back home. I had to do something. I could not allow myself to continue to sit in the state of indecision. And I literally was paralyzed. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't focus. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that because I was caught up on this big decision that I had to make, which shows me why I'm so indecisive when I come to the market and try to form a market approach. If you've been watching my videos, you know that's what I struggle with, right? I'm pretty sure I mentioned this. The 2 biggest mistakes that I faced. Number 1, indecision in my market approach, deciding if I should be a buyer or if I should be a seller for that day, usually leading to a split approach where I'm looking to be a buyer if this happens or a seller if that happens, which never leads to anything good, which always leads to mistakes. So I've come to the conclusion that I'm just indecisive in my nature. That's just how I am. Like, I struggle with coming to decisions and confidently submitting to that decision and confidently holding conviction that that is the right thing that I should do for myself. It's the same thing when I come to trading. I struggle holding conviction in a bias. I struggle submitting to that idea. So I'm indecisive. And that has really impacted my ability to frame a market approach, and that has impacted my trading performance. So I just gave you all the whole spiel. Everything that's going on right now. And that's it. I'm just being real. So look at this camera quality. It's pretty sick. I went into my settings and I adjusted them. Now it's looking good. I'm sitting in front of a window. I'm back home. I've created a new environment. And I think we're going to be good. I think we're going to be ready to attempt an eval soon. I'm feeling ready and I'm feeling confident. Like, I have a really good read on price right now. I'm probably going to finish out this week. If I close out this week and have a solid week of trading, then I'm probably going to attempt an eval the following week, because I just keep stacking on lessons, and I just keep getting a better understanding of my model. The thing is I only get better over time. It's not a linear progression either. It's exponential. It's exponential with a lot of dips, right? Because life is ebb and flow. You go up, you go down. Life is like the market. You uptrend, you downtrend. I hit a downtrend recently. I just pulled back. I was simply rebalancing to equilibrium of the range, but you better believe that I'm fucking back and I feel great. And I just keep compiling lessons and I just keep following my day-to-day process and I get better by default. Just by doing the same things every day, I get better by default. I literally don't even have to do anything new. I just have to keep moving forward and keep doing the same habits that I do on a day-to-day basis, and I get better by default. That's it. It's just the consistency and the persistence that I have in my daily habits that just allow me to get better over time, and that's it. It's an exponential progression. So I'm feeling really confident about the near future. It just keeps getting better, you know? And sure, it goes backwards at some points in time, but it's not like you're starting over from scratch at all. You keep getting better. You keep reaching new levels of understanding, and that's the fun part about it. It's the evolution, right? It's the self-evolution. And you can feel it too. You can feel the change. You can feel your mindset getting stronger. You can feel everything changing. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. So that's where I'm at right now. I just keep getting a better and better idea of what I need to do, of what it takes to become profitable. And I just do that consistently. And that's it. That's it. So that's going to be it for this one. Talk to you guys in the next one. And damn, is this channel growing fast now. And all I'm doing is sitting here and just talking. And that's it. That's it. So I encourage you to just be yourself. Know exactly who you want to become. Know exactly what you want to do with your life. Follow your passion, and you can't lose. All it takes is that you have a goal, you know what you want, you persistently work towards it, you believe in yourself, and that's it. Win. That's it. Win. Create a successful life for yourself. That's it.